Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. What few of you actually happen to be here. It looks like we have a total of 6 other people in the chat right now beside myself, which is interestingly low turnout. It was announced ahead of time. That's very odd. It's okay, though. It's all right. Everyone who is here, welcome. Thank you for coming. Let's see. We'll get started off with... I believe we had some written questions that I think we'll go through first. As soon as I can find those. There they are. Pop all this stuff over so we can see each other. I even have a face screen. In case you guys want a closer look at my ugly mug. I'm pretty sure I did do that in the Patreon chat, guys. Members only. I did that with the first one. There. An update. We'll see if anyone else filters in. Oh, we've got a couple more people filtering in. Technical problems. Yes, there are always technical problems. The first link that YouTube sent didn't actually contain the link to the video, which is really strange. In the meantime, we actually will we'll burn through these main questions. We'll give you guys my ugly face while we go through those. Dragon Age is being a little loud for me right now. So we'll go through the pre-written questions. We have the first one up on the list is Pipsqueak, who's asking, "What's your favorite childhood video game of any?" I've had a lot of favorite video games over the course of the first 10 to 15 years of my life, but I think probably the most fun game that I had when I was in the single digits would be Asteroids and Defender. I think would be tied. Those were old Atari 2600 games, and I used to be exceptionally good at those, to the point where with Asteroids, I was able to just keep on playing that game until it would cycle. The score counter would cycle over repeatedly. And it got to the point where one night, I remember my dad and my uncles got so excited watching me blaze away on Asteroids, they kept me up. I think I was 6 or 7 years old. And for a kid that was used to going to bed at 8 o'clock, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, they kept me up so I could keep playing because they were so excited seeing me go on such a tear. It was a little odd, but that was probably the first impression I ever got of someone watching me play a game, kind of like what you do on Twitch now. And in my teenage years, I think, or my early teenage years to late grade school, to late single-digit years, would be Secret of the Silver Blades, which was it was a Dungeons and Dragons game that I played on the Commodore 64. And that was, man, those games were just old type games where you had the manual, and you had the DRM then was a cipher wheel where you had an inner and an outer ring that it would provide you with a set of symbols that you had to match up, and that would provide you with a page number, a paragraph number, and a word that you had to type in to be able to get access into the game. So if you lost that wheel or the manual, you were screwed and you wouldn't be able to play the game. So yeah, those were a lot of fun. And then when, you know, I was about 12 and everything, we got our first Windows PC, which is Windows 3.1. My favorite game then was Star Wars X-Wing, and I played the hell out of the game so many times I can't even remember how many times I beat the whole campaign all the way through. Let's see, Jodo1025 asks, "Speaking of the MechWarrior franchise, what's your favorite mech?" My favorite mech, I'd have to go back to mostly, I'd have to fall back on my old MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries days. And my favorite mech then had to have been the Thor, I think, would be my favorite, because it was a clan omni-mech that you could pack on Gauss and ER large and PPCs and everything. It was highly maneuverable. It was fast. It had a full 360 torso twist and ECM, and it was amazing for a decent-sized heavy mech. It was fantastic. Or was a Thor an assault? No, it was a heavy mech. But yeah, it was an amazing mech that I enjoyed the hell out of. I probably won more league matches in that mech than any other. Yeah, 316 no scoping, except there was a lot of scoping going on in those games. It was if you didn't have Gauss and PPC on open maps, you were screwed. John Patz asks, what was your first video game that hooked you? Probably, I would say the first video game that managed to hook me into gaming would be Archon and Archon 2, that game series on the Commodore 64. It was a weird combination of one-on-one fighting and chess, to where you had to, strategically place your characters on the board, and you had power points to power them up, and you can gain in power, and you had different capabilities with different characters, and then you could go to capture a piece, and you would go onto a one-on-one fight screen, where you had a variety of different, swordmen or clubmen, or a chameleon, or a chameleon that would mimic whatever unit it was battling, and it was basically a form of combat chess, and it was a huge amount of fun. I would actually still play that game if it was still around. It was great. Ozai asks, do you play card and or board games, and if so, what are your favorite ones? Not so much anymore. I don't really have much of a chance anymore to play board games or anything like that, because there's hardly ever anyone around. And but the games that I tended to like the most were games like Axis and Allies and Risk and things of that nature. Games that involved a lot of strategic thinking were games that I could really get into. And one game that I actually tended to start really enjoying was shoot, I can't even remember the name of it offhand. It was a form of a farming style game, but it had a lot of it had some random events, but you had to be very strategic in your thinking and your planning to be able to win out against your opponents. Melted Ghost asks, is there a list of things that you have looked into but don't think are worth a video on their own, and are you planning or thinking of a video to address a few things at once? I mean, yes, I get all kinds of things all the time that, no, it wasn't Catan. I get all kinds of things all the time that I get sent to me, asset flips, dirty devs, and everything like that. And you kind of have to pick and choose which things could potentially do the most damage to the community or to the largest number of consumers, and kind of go with that. Or sometimes also which one is the least labor intensive when it comes to research, because there's a lot of research that goes into several of those videos. And so whichever one has the most information readily apparent can sometimes win out over one that might take a lot more in-depth involvement, just because of time crunch, where some of those might get shunted to the side to be done later, or they might fall by the wayside out because of a lack of continued relevance. I had entertained the idea in the past of doing kind of a news mashup style video, but that turned out to be far more work than it was worth, because it required covering a lot of topics in a very short period of time. So you end up doing the same amount of research, but devoting far less time in the actual video to the individual topics. So it just didn't feel like it was worth it to me. So there, that's something I might revisit at a later date, but probably not something I would want to do going forward. Rayu Takero asks, excuse me, Sid, are you planning on doing a Dirty Dev series on other platforms other than Steam, i.e. Amazon, GOG, and Origins, or perhaps Google Play Store? If so, when can we expect to see that airing on your channel, or will it be a Patreon exclusive? No. One thing that I won't do is I won't completely gate content like that. So you won't see any content that is Patreon only. Like, you have to be a Patreon supporter to be able to see this. I won't do that. I don't think that would be serving my role in consumer advocacy and critical commentary within the games community if I were to gate off content like that. So that's not something I would ever do. Google Play Store, that speaks more to me of like mobile apps and mobile games and things like that, and that platform as a whole is so far gone that I really don't think there's any saving it at this point. So trying to find that sort of thing, I would be trying to find good things as opposed to bad things. And I just have no interest in taking that on. I've been a PC gaming channel first and foremost, and Google Play is mostly mobile app. But GOG, Origins, Amazon, I mean, Origin is EA. I mean, EA is already basically on the Dirty Dev list, as is every other AAA publisher out there. I mean, they've already earned a right to be on that list for any number of different reasons. Amazon, again, a lot of games you see on Amazon are either mobile or they're keys purchased for the Steam platform. So that would be going outside of Steam just to come back to Steam. And then you'd have to filter through a larger list to get rid of the mobile app games to be able to focus through on what's just available on Amazon. And then GOG is a lot better curated than Steam is, and so the selection there is much fewer, and because of that, a lot less crap makes it through. And so I tend to focus more on Steam, mostly because it's the largest platform out there, and it has the most junk, and you know, everyone uses Steam for most everything. And that's why, you know, kind of like when you talk about viruses with a computer, how there are so many fewer viruses for Mac than there are for PC. Well, because most people own a PC. And so most viruses are going to be designed to focus on PC because they want to hit the largest cross-section that they possibly can. And the same reason why I tend to focus more on Steam is because most people buy their games on Steam, and so most asset flips and most dirty devs are going to wind up on the Steam platform. So that's kind of where I concentrate on, because that's where they're concentrating. That's it for the written questions so far. I tend to be burning through these a little bit faster than I thought I was going to. Let's see, we do have some non-Patreon questions. Skip and Skips asks, do you enjoy comic books? No, I don't. I never really had a chance to get into comic books when I was younger because we were so exceptionally poor that was just something that I could never afford. And because of that, I'm so far out of the loop with comic books that it just doesn't hold much of an interest to me to get involved in, because there's so much catching up to do that it's a little off-putting. Blasphemy. Well, sorry. CryoWare asks, what kind of sports do I enjoy? I enjoy esports. More specifically, I enjoy StarCraft and StarCraft 2 esports. Those are my absolute favorites. I enjoy watching a little League of Legends esports every now and then, but more often than not, you'll see me watching, the ESL StarCraft 2, and actually Total Biscuit's Reign of Kings StarCraft 2, which is his King of the Hill. I think that's awesome, and yeah, I enjoy the hell out of watching that. And how long do I think PUBG has before streamers leave it alone? You know, it'll vary. PUBG is very much a flavor of the week type of thing. It's still riding high right now, but you see it's falling in the rankings. People are starting to lose interest in it a little bit. what with other Battle Royale games coming out that are beginning to overshadow it. Because at the end of the day, PUBG is a broken, buggy, incomplete mess of a game, and it probably always will be. Bluehole does not have the greatest reputation as a developer, and because of that, I don't have a high level of confidence that the game will ever reach a final polished state. And because of that, people will slowly gravitate more towards Epic Games, Fortnite, Battle Royale, and others, because they just have a higher level of polish. They feel more complete. They're far less buggy. And with Epic Games, and their crusade against cheaters, you have a much higher level of guarantee that you'll get an honest match. Whereas PUBG, you look at the top players on the PUBG ladder right now, and half or more are people who are employing cheats. And I think that's all we have. Oh, I have. I'm not sure if I should answer that question out loud here. Okay, no, that's it. I'm getting typed joke questions, so. Never mind. So that's about it for all we have for the written questions. My God, my ability to speak directly and correctly is wearing out really fast. We'll give you guys something else to look at besides my ugly mug. What we're going to do here while I transition off of that, the reason being is because I did make a promise, and I'm going to hold through with that. Recent games, all games. I'm going to open up one of my Roll20 test servers, because we did have a person that signed up to the $100 Patreon. And there we go, test campaign. We'll join that. And I did promise, even though it was a joke tier and it violated Patreon terms of service, I agreed to, out of the interest of fairness, give this person a chance to win either my mouse or my gaming headset. So what we're going to do here is, I don't know if you guys can see it, is this. We'll go back to our face cam here. They'll have a chance to win this headset, which is my HyperX Cloud 2s. Fantastic headset that have been amazing for me so far. Or we have my Razer Ouroboros mouse. This was a $150 mouse when I bought it. It's a fantastic gaming mouse. I really don't want to lose it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to roll for it. So we're going to bring up a new browser window here. Browser source. Create new. Oh, that's not going to work. Okay, let's just delete that then. Okay, we'll do a display capture then. Let's see, display capture. Display cap 3. Display 2. No, display 1. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to roll a d10. And let's see. Everyone can see that. So this is going to be rolled live, so there's going to be no preponderance of cheating. I'm going to stick true to my word, and if they win, then I will reach out to them and they will get their chance to choose between either the mouse or the headset. We're going to roll a d10 here, and actually we're going to take my... There we go. That way you can see me. That way you can still see me. All right, so we're going to take a D10 here, and if they roll a 10, then they win. They'll get either my mouse or my headset. So here we go. We're going to do a slash roll, 1D10. 1, furthest away from it. Sorry, guys, I get to keep my mouse and my headset. But we're going to roll it again. We're going to give them 2 chances because we have a mouse and a headset. 3. Okay. So no mouse, no headset. So sorry about that, guys. We have no victor today. So what they will get instead is they will get a lovely handcrafted Hallmark e-card. And so we'll design that and we'll send it off to them. Sorry. Maybe next time. Oh, Director Haru asks, anime, do you watch it? And if so, what are some of your favorite series? I've only just now started getting into anime even a little bit. I always tried to avoid it because my friends, when I was younger, were huge fans of anime, but they were very much fans of extremely violent, bloody, and pornographic anime. So I didn't exactly have the best experience. I mean, we're talking games like, or videos like, let's see, what was it called? I think it was actually Ghost in the Shell. I think it was Akira. No, that's not right. Yeah, that was Akira. So yeah, there was Akira, there was Vampire Hunter D, and things like that. That I just really didn't get into, and didn't enjoy them. I mean, Vampire Hunter D wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. At least not to me. Although I've been getting introduced to Kill la Kill, which I think is amazing, and I love Kill la Kill. I think it's fantastic. It's hilarious and it's awesome. So yeah, so with that, with the introduction to Kill la Kill, I'm starting to gain interest in watching other animes. Did I enjoy Akira? Yeah, kinda. And yeah, so there's that. We'll shrink my face down because I look better at a distance, I think. I think the further away we get, the better I look. Yes, my overly sexy and amazing girlfriend forced me to watch Kill la Kill. Against my will. And now I'm the one pestering her to watch Kill la Kill sometimes. So that's basically it for the written questions. Do we have any other questions from those of you that did decide to show up? Yes, no, maybe so. Actually, it took me, Director, it took me about till about the second or third episode before I started enjoying it. I wouldn't say I fell in love with it, but I enjoy the hell out of it. I'll give it that.
I can feel it now. The blight.
This is DLC. This is, yeah, this is the Ruins of Hydron Tag. Holding the Deep Roads is what it's called. Quest 104, or is that the quest name? Landmarks in the Deep Roads, Sacrificial Gates of Segramar. The Descent. Oh, The Descent, I think, is the name of the DLC. Yeah, hey, Fatal Foxtrot, it's YouTube again. I'm using YouTube for the AMAs because we want them to be Patreon only and subscriber only, and I can't do that on Twitch unless you're a Twitch subscriber. So we did it on YouTube so we can keep it unlisted and just give the link out to subscribers. The video itself will probably open up to the public, but you guys get the direct access to me. You get to come in here and chat and ask me whatever the hell it is you want. Random question, don't remember if you gave an answer. Why a two-headed wolf? I have answered that numerous times, but I'll answer it again for you guys. So the reason why the two-headed wolf actually came about kind of extremely randomly. It was when I decided to first start up my channel. I decided that's it. We're going to do it. We're just going to get started. We're going to get everything lined up, and then we're going to start working on videos. And so I decided there were a few things I needed. I needed an intro, and I needed a channel name, and I needed equipment to be able to record, and then I needed a topic, my first topic. Those were the big four. And so I started doing research on, I was like, oh, everyone's talking about... I didn't know about using software like OBS and everything like that, like we're using right now, to be able to record things, and I didn't know about various screen capture software and everything like that. And because of that, I ended up doing a lot of research on capture cards, things that I didn't need, like AverMedia and Elgato specifically. My first capture card that I used to record everything was an AverMedia 720p internal capture card. But I decided I needed a logo and an intro. And before I found an intro that I wanted, it was great, as I didn't know how to make my own. Like, I'll show you guys the break screen real quick. Like this, I managed to design this on my own. And this is, this took a lot of work. But this is an extremely basic animation when it boils right down to it. But it still took me probably 5 hours to do. And so that animation that you guys see at the beginning of every video is something that I purchased off a site called Fiverr. And because of that, they said, insert your custom logo here. So I was like, crap, I need a logo. I need a logo. So I went over to another site that specialized in logos. And I just started streaming through. And I always liked wolves. I liked the idea of the wolf growing up. And so I saw the logo with, it was actually supposed to be two wolves side by side. But it just kind of, it took on a little bit of a life of its own there. It's like, that logo looks cool. Okay, we'll buy that logo. And that was it. I bought the logo with rights exclusivity, and it became mine. So that was it. There was nothing. There was no deeper meaning behind the logo itself, or anything special behind it, or any greater truth inside of me. Is basically just, that one looks cool. I like it. Are you a dog person or a cat person? Both, neither. I mean, I'm not a fan of fur getting all over my clothing. So whichever one does that the least is fine by me. That said, animals tend to really like me, whether they be dogs or cats. They just always have. They've always taken a shining to me. You know, they're skittish. Sometimes they're skittish around me at first because, you know, I'm a large person and I have a deep booming voice, and so a lot of animals tend to find that very off-putting at first, but once they start getting comfortable to me, they seem to really just latch on to me for some reason. Do you like where you are now with your channel, or do you want to expand more, and how would you expand? I definitely want to expand more. I'm amazed at the growth of my channel over the course of this past year. You know, at the beginning of the year, my goal for the end of the year was 3,000 subscribers. Here we are at 67,000 right now. I was actually hoping more towards July, August. I was hoping to be able to break 75 or 100,000 by the end of the year, but that's definitely not going to happen. But I determined that with the current percentage of views that I get per video, right around 100,000 subscribers, coupled with what you guys so graciously give to me on Patreon, I would be able to take the channel full-time. At that point, I would be, assuming YouTube doesn't keep dicking over with the ad revenue, I would be making as much off of my YouTube channel as I would off of my day job. And that means at that point, I would actually be making more money off of my YouTube channel than my day job, because then I wouldn't be driving 2 hours every day just to get to and from work. And so I would be freed up to be able to do more. And I would be able to expand faster. You know, I would be able to, with that, I would be able to set a work pace for myself of getting out a video every day and doing at least a 3-hour stream every day. And so with that, I figured I would be able to grow more rapidly. And I would be able to dedicate more time to my channel and to social media, excuse me, and to just generally growing my brand in general. But that's not something that's going to happen until I can go full-time. So until then, we're kind of limping along.
Sid, I hope I'm permitted to speak.
Yeah, you're fine. This is MakerCat, everybody. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. It's MakerCat, your friendly neighborhood cat mod. First of all, I don't believe the chat is showing up in the stream. I believe there's a glitch there with OBS.
Oh no, that's because that chat window is keyed to that chat window is keyed to Twitch.
Yeah, sorry, I blinked on that. Also, Pan had asked a question. Do you have any interest in your next anime after you're done with Kill la Kill?
I don't know. I think I will defer to the wisdom of my beauteous girlfriend to be able to help me decide on that, because I really have no idea.
And Fatal Foxtrot asks, what's your favorite supernatural creature from any lore or culture?
Favorite supernatural creature from any lore or culture? I don't know if Q could really be considered supernatural. Let's see, supernatural. So we're talking like vampires, werewolves, mummies, that sort of thing. I think my most favorite would be would probably still be vampires. Mostly from the Vampire Diaries genre of vampires, because they have the daylight rings, and so they're able to basically live normal lives as vampires. So you get all of the benefits, the eternal youth, and the longevity, and all of that, but you're still able to function as a person, as an individual, and you're still able to integrate and interact with society. And so that aspect of vampirism is highly attractive to me.
Ajax 5405 had asked, what is your day job?
What is my day job? I work in IT. More specifically, I am a manager and project lead for an IT consulting firm. So basically, I'm the owner's right-hand man. I'm like our company's version of Watchtower for the Justice League. Is that it? Basically, I'm the one that handles all the stuff that nobody else can figure out. I'm the one that figures the things out. Like how to, recently our local county government decided they wanted to swing their entire email system from Microsoft Exchange to G Suite. And no one had ever dealt with that, so I'm the one that has to go in and figure all that out and come up with a plan of action for over 1,000 mailboxes, and to be able to plan that out and stage it out and all that. And yeah, I handle a lot of things with my day job. It's extremely hectic. It can be a little overwhelming at times, but I do really enjoy the intellectual challenge. But at the same time, I enjoy this a lot more. And I can't wait to be done with that and be doing this full time. The problem is, I know it'll be at least a half a year or more before I can get to that point. Wow, we've actually been talking for almost an hour already. That's impressive. Save up that cash money for a fallback. Yeah, basically that's what I'm doing right now is, thanks to where I am right now, it's a very good supplemental income, which means that I'm able to pay off a lot of bills. And at that point, I'll be able to start saving up some money. Whoops, did I just accidentally open up Blizzard? I did. Clicking on too many things. Oh, I actually need to close that because it's going to try updating stuff. Well, it's surprising. We still only have 10 people in the stream. It's okay, though. It makes it kind of short and sweet.
Here's a question from... Oh, wait, nope, Fatal Foxtrot. What's your favorite ethnic food, like Italian, Chinese, Thai, etc.?
Let's see. What's my favorite ethnic food? I'm really a fan of all kinds. Probably... I would have to say my absolute favorite isn't... I don't even know if you can really consider it an ethnic food, but tacos. I mean, tacos to me are basically the perfect food. I could eat them all the time, every day. I could eat tacos. The problem is there's so much damn fat in them with the meat and everything like that, that I can't. I wish I could. I really do. God, I love tacos. And next to that, I would say probably, I would say Chinese, with the heavy soy sauces and everything like that. And let's see, how do you take your steak? Medium rare. Definitely medium rare. Medium rare to medium, right in there. Do you want to do other kinds of content besides the one you do, or are you happy with the content that you do? That so basically, am I happy doing gaming content? So I've had a lot of people ask if I would do videos on more political stuff and start going into that realm of more news-related things like that. And I really have no interest in getting into that arena because we see it enough with anytime you have politics, you start delving into the social side of things too, and the socio-political environment and everything like that. And it is such a complete and utter shit show that quite literally every single video in regards to content like that would be a battleground. And I have no desire to subject myself or my viewers to that nonsense, complete and utter nonsense. I mean, you can even see it with the Alex Maurer videos, where you have, you have people in anything where I discuss anything political, you end up with, the more reasonable people that slowly transcends out to the ultra unreasonable on both sides of the spectrum, to where you have the far left and the far right duking it out in the comments, and it's absolutely insane. And you have both sides calling me like an SJW cuck or literally Hitler. I've been called both on one video, and all sorts of that. It's, make America Nazi free again. Yeah, both sides at the ultra end of the spectrum, the far left and the far right, can both just go fuck themselves, because they're both sides just the exact opposite side of the same disgusting coin, and they drive me insane, and I can't stand them. I really can't. And because of that, people say, well, if you don't, how hard is it to say, just say you hate this, just say you hate it, 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 just say. I'm not here to validate you or your opinion, okay? More often than not, I won't share the same opinions as you, and that's okay for most reasonable people. But for people like them, it's not okay, and they can't stand it, and they'll call me, I've been called transphobic, anti-trans, I've been called anti-everything under the sun, because there was someone that commented on one of my videos that said something that this other person didn't agree with, and so I am a garbage human because of it. And that sort of thing drives me insane, and I cannot stand the political and the social bullshit. So no, I just want to concentrate on gaming and video games and talking about stuff that I'm good at, and talking about, the topic that I'm passionate about that got me into, making videos and everything to begin with. It's not the social political garbage that basically will not be sorted out until the next generation comes of age. And it's not any of that. I just want to talk about games, and fuck you and your political agenda. I hope that clarifies things. Yes, the far left and the far right are garbage humans to me. No, actually, most of those people are not under the age of 25. And you have to remember, you're thinking there of the millennials and all that, which actually the millennials occupy a far broader age spectrum than you might even realize. I'm 38 years old. If I were 36, I would be a millennial. The millennials, I believe, started in 1982. So I could have been a millennial, just a couple of years off. So yeah, there are people in their 30s that are millennials. 35, 36. 35, yeah. Which really makes me feel older than I probably should. It's reminded me that I'm far closer to 40 than I am to 30. So that's the thing. Would I like to do other kinds of gaming content like reviews, guides, etc.? I have no interest in doing guides. Because that's another minefield right there. But I started off doing reviews. Believe it or not. Go back and look at any of my content that's older than February, and it will be almost all reviews and first impressions. And it wasn't until after the whole Dentola Studios thing that I started doing more critical commentary on the industry as a whole. So yeah, I'd love to get back to doing more regular reviews. The problem is I tended to fall out of doing full reviews because I don't have enough time to do a complete playthrough of a game, and I haven't done as many first impressions videos as I would want because, quite frankly, you know, sometimes you kind of let the chips fall where they may, and far more people watch me talk about the industry as a whole than they do watching videos about a specific game. What about Let's Plays? No. I had actually considered doing a Let's Play style first impression where I would play through a game for like a half hour to an hour and then kind of give my overall takeaways of it. But Let's Plays, there are so many people doing Let's Plays, and it's to me, transitioning to Let's Plays would just feel lazy, and it feels like it would be a waste of my talents. Yeah, technically streaming would be Let's Plays, but at the same time, you know, with the streaming and everything, it's more of an open format where people can ask me questions directly and everything like that, whereas a Let's Play would be pre-recorded. So it would be just me trying to talk over a video, over gameplay, and try to keep you guys entertained that way. It's really not something I'm interested in doing. I mean, yeah, the market is pretty damn saturated when it comes to game reviews. Jim still offers his impressions on a lot of games. They're just not in a traditional review format. But he does still review quite a few games, and he does a lot of impressions videos. But they're not full reviews. They're just first impressions.
One question I had actually meant to ask earlier was, is there any genre you feel undernourished, or a genre of video games that you would like to see more development in, or something that you feel like just there's like an itch that hasn't been scratched quite right in video games?
Yeah, actually, I would love to see more. I would love to see more direct RPG style games. Games like Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, Pillars of Eternity, Tyrants, games of that nature. More CRPG style as opposed to JRPG. I think those games are fantastic because one of the great things that always got me interested in games, and why I raved over games like Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2 and the early BioWare games, is because to me, what really made a fantastic game wasn't just mind-blowing graphics like an EA title or something like that, but it was always an interactive story where you could make your own story and make your own outcome, where you could blow shit up. I mean, you give me a game like that and I am happy as a clam. And games like Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2, and a lot of most BioWare games just fit me like a glove. And that's why I tend to just rave about BioWare games in general, is because they're just right up my alley with all of it. And, games with a very rich, easy to get into lore also, like MechWare and Battletech. Another genre that I think is far underutilized right now is the space sim. We really don't see many space sim games anymore, to the point where I remember back in the day where you know, you didn't have what you needed to be able to game properly if you didn't have a joystick. And now it's virtually impossible to find a joystick. I have one. It works great. But but the space sim genre is one that I think is vastly underutilized, and it's a shame that the industry has kind of moved on from those style games, especially with games like Freelancer and Starlancer and all of those that just had fantastically, you know, enjoyable stories in a futuristic setting with great gameplay. I mean, Freelancer still holds up today. I would love to see a remake. I would love to see a remake of Freelancer with updated graphics on the cutscenes and everything like that, because the gameplay graphics are still perfectly serviceable. And that game is what, 15 years old now or more. What about No Man's Sky now that they did a super mega update? Fuck No Man's Sky. I own it. I will never install it on my computer at this point. After everything that they did, the blatant lying that they did to attempt to increase the hype train to such ludicrous levels, could never be forgiven in my book. They deserve to fail. They deserve to fail hard. They deserve to shut down for the sheer amount of lies they instigated against the community. They don't deserve my patronage. They don't deserve respect. They don't deserve their game to succeed ever at that point. Is there a genre of video games that I don't like? Platformers. I'm not a fan of platformers, and I'm not really a big fan of visual novels either. Trying to think if there's anything else I really dislike.
So would you say fighting games are up your alley?
Huh?
So would you say fighting games are up your alley?
No, fighting games. I'm not really interested in fighting games, and I got really burned with Street Fighter V. Because, you know, Street Fighter V had a giant IOU in place of most of the content, and I think they just recently finally released the arcade mode. When did that game come out? Last year?
The arcade mode will be coming in January.
And the game was released in 2016. Horrible. Plus, I'm just not a huge fan of fighting games, anyways. I mean, it's all the same. It's all really the same thing, and it has been for well over a decade. Just with updated characters and graphics. There's nothing really new to offer the fighting game genre than what already has been put out. Excited for anything announced at the VGAs this year? No, not really. No. I still haven't even finished watching the VGAs. I made it about an hour and 50 minutes through Total Biscuit's Snarkathon. But my God, it was 90% advertisement this year. Again. It was horrible. Nothing there has caught my eye at all.
I can't remember, sorry, but did you answer if you've seen Babylon 5?
Have I seen Babylon 5? Yes. Oh, yes. Quite a bit. Twice. All the way through. Space Engineer. Oh, that's right. Another genre of game that I really don't like and have no interest in is builder games and survival games. So games like Minecraft hold no interest for me whatsoever, and any survival game I can't stand. I hate it. It just feels like such a time waster for me. It's all just busy work. It's like it's chores in a video game. I don't like that. Cuter, funner, No Man's Sky.
Damn right. Cute.
It didn't kill everyone. What's my opinion on Kerbal Space Program? It's interesting. That's basically it. It's interesting. It's an interesting concept, but it's not really one that will hold my attention for very long. Because I just kind of get bored with things like that really easily, really quickly. I mean, as far as conventions are concerned, I would absolutely go to conventions had I the time and the money. Right now, I have the money. I don't have the time because I have day job, I have YouTube channel, now I have Twitch, and I have my daughter, Kylie. So there's no real time to be able to set aside for conventions, as it were. But once I start getting to the point of going full-time, I realize I'm going to have to start going to conventions because I have to use those as an opportunity to network. Any games you've been dying to play but haven't had the time? Oh, so many. Oh, so many. How old is she? She's 13. So don't get any funny ideas.
Feel it now. The blight. Spreading.
Yes.
It's gonna hurt.
Just remember, you're already dead. Drink some ale. It will help.
Are you going to put it out any more Munchbox videos? I mean, I plan on it. I actually have one recorded that's been recorded, I think, for about a month. I just haven't found a good time to actually put it out on the channel. And we actually have 3 Munchboxes sitting in there on the table right now. 3 of them. Problem is, she hasn't been feeling well the past few weeks, and so I haven't wanted to introduce a lot of strange foods in her stomach because she's been having stomach problems. So we've been holding off on that. YouTube gaming sponsors versus Twitch subs. YouTube gaming sponsors is a higher percentage payout. Twitch is 50-50.
And your face is currently full screen. Is that intentional?
Oh. I'm just over here just wandering around. Just wandering around collecting things. I should probably, while we're doing this, I should probably just go to the hinterlands and harvest elf fruit, because I need a ton of it. So yeah, with the Twitch or the YouTube sponsors versus the Twitch subs, I know a lot of people would prefer I stream on YouTube. And I know I would get more viewers streaming on YouTube. But the fact of the matter is, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into having all of my eggs in one basket by just relying on YouTube. So I'm forcing myself to stream on Twitch, even though I get almost nothing compared to what I have been getting in the past on YouTube. Because I don't, when you're dealing with a lot of uncertainties like this, you want to make sure to spread yourself out as much as possible. And when you start getting larger, you do want to spread things out as much as you can between, you have YouTube, Patreon, Twitch. Trying to line up sponsorships, but that's not going well because I don't have 100,000 subscribers yet, and it's virtually impossible to get sponsorships until you reach that level. Even though my viewer engagement rate is higher than other channels, twice my size, they don't tend to look at that. They just look at how many subscribers do they have. Oh, 60,000? No. Actually, let's look at, because I put out feelers for about 15 sponsorships last week, and nothing back. Not a surprise. Not a surprise at all. What is this reference to which everyone is referencing? Mike D, thank you for the sponsorship.
There's a reference that goes around a bit in the anime community, and it's that a motherfucking JoJo reference, and it's connecting literally any tiny thing, kind of like a conspiracy theory, where you connect anything that you possibly can to a JoJo reference, which is another anime. So you could have like somebody whose name is Joe in an anime and be like, is that a JoJo reference? And it's just something stupid that people say, that I say.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Twitch sub, YouTube sponsorship, and Patreon. My God. Mike D trying to go for all the things. Gotta catch them all. Yeah, especially considering I'm probably going to open up a second sponsorship site. Like, I've actually been looking into, where is it? Maker support. Because Maker support, it looks like they backload their fees, and they're actually way cheaper than Patreon is now. So yeah, it looks like they backload it, so you pledge what you pledge, and then the, let's see, transaction average 3.3%, we take 4.8% last. So yeah, it sounds like I'll probably start promoting my Maker pledge as opposed to Patreon, just because it'll be simpler for everyone. And that way people won't have to deal with the psychotic fees that Patreon is front loading on you guys. The difficulty is, I don't think that we have the same level of integration with Maker support. So I'm gonna have to do some more research on that. But I think Patreon will still have to be the primary, just because of the integration levels with everything. But I do want options for people.
Here's a question, seeing as you have been gaming for a while throughout your life, and feel free not to answer it if you don't feel like it. Have you ever had like a child crush on a fictional character?
Have I ever had a crush on a fictional character? Yeah. I mean, quite a few, actually. That's definitely nothing new. Liara, definitely. Liara Tassoni is fantastic. She's amazing. Let's see, what other fictional characters did I end up crushing on? Oh, Leliana. Leliana is always, will always be numero uno in my heart. Actually, I think those might be the only two. I'll have to think about that for a moment longer, but I'm pretty sure those are the only two. Where the hell am I? There we go. Yeah, Liara from Mass Effect. Mainly because Liara was you know, she's an archaeologist and a scientist, and so she had a brilliant mind, even though she was, you know, naive about this world that I was also naive about because I didn't know much about it, and so it was interesting. Kind of learned with Liara.
Feel it now. The blight. Spreading.
Tali over Liara? Nah.
The blight. Spreading.
Yes.
It's gonna hurt.
Just remember, you're already dead. Drink some ale. It will help.
Wish the bastard had run me through.
I mean, Garrus is the ultimate bro. I mean, I wouldn't say I ever had a crush on Garrus, but I definitely would have some form of bromance with Garrus. No doubt. I'm going the wrong way. It's fine.
The way you brought down that emissary, Inquisitor, a thing of beauty.
So, I don't know. Does anyone have any other odd questions or anything out of the ordinary that they just feel like it would be interesting to know? What is the average airspeed of an unladen swallow? What do you mean, European or South African? Keyboard switches, tactile versus linear? I don't know. Convention you'd like to attend for more than networking? I mean, I was completely down with going to MetCon this year, but I wanted to get some form of press access, and that didn't happen. But MetCon, I would definitely go for more than just networking. And probably...
What was that?
What was what?
Something moved. There. Light a torch.
So I can see us coming?
Probably
Just stay
E3.
close.
Although E3 would be a little of both. Favorite Kill la Kill character? My favorite Kill la Kill character would be the main character, I think. She actually reminds me a fair amount of me when I was a teenager. Just somber and a little angry.
Nothing's stopping us from going back up.
We're not going back up.
Just a suggestion.
There's eyes watching us in the dark.
How can you tell? It's pitch black.
I can feel it.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I definitely used to fight people stronger than me. But I did not get a cool sailor suit.
Director Haruhi asks, what's your favorite terrible movie?
My favorite terrible movie. He just shot him. My favorite terrible movie. Let's see. What is my most favorite terrible movie? Trying to pick one because I have like 5 or 6. Something so bad it was good. I mean, Army of Darkness was pretty fucking amazing. I'd have to say, actually, Spaceballs. Believe it or not, I think Spaceballs would probably be my my go-to there. Just because it's a movie that just outright mocks every sci-fi movie you can imagine, and it's amazing. Bushman's made it. Well, you got here right as I was thinking about wrapping things up, actually.
How do you feel about video games getting into more ethical issues or tackling more, you know, current real-world problems?
You deserved better.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Cobbler.
just like any creative medium, you're going to see a certain amount of that. I mean, look at books, movies, and every other form of entertainment medium to date. They have tackled a wide variety of social and political issues, either responsibly or irreverently, depending on the case. Actually, Star Trek would be a fantastic example of a television series that tackled social and political topics of the day, of the time period. And we're actually seeing more of that with things like the Orville, to where they're tackling even more things along those same lines. Where we saw that with you know, gender reassignment and all sorts of different things. So, you know, with that, with any creative medium, there's always a potential there to be able to handle important social and political issues in a wide variety of ways. And with video games, you actually also have the ability for people to kind of custom tailor those stories, or they can be deliberately placed into situations and social or political situations that they might find uncomfortable. The problem is with the current social political climate of the U.S. especially is one such that people are not interested in being challenged. They have no desire to have their beliefs questioned in any way, to the point where they're erecting safe spaces wherever you go. Anytime their thoughts might be challenged in some form or another, to the point where they're walling themselves off even from information, even from factual information, because it flies in the face of what they believe. You know, that's it's a social climate of feels before reals, and because of that, I don't think we'll ever see too much of it in video games unless it is supporting that feel before real endeavor. So while it does have a lot of potential there to be able to do that, I don't think we'll see much of it. Am I going to do a stream later on Twitch as well? Oh, God. I've streamed so much this weekend, it's not even funny. I think I'm just going to ignore that because I've got to get a video out. I do. I mean, I have a lot of fun streaming, but streaming doesn't make me money. My videos make me money. So, you know, I've got like 4 topics I could very easily do a video on, and they all are going to take a certain amount of research before I start recording anything at all. So I think I won't stream anymore tonight. Also, do you enjoy any shows on Netflix, Hulu, that are originals to that platform? Netflix. I don't watch Hulu, but Netflix actually. The Ranch, I think was what it was called. Yeah, The Ranch. I actually thought was amazingly brilliant comedy, especially for me who grew up. I grew up as a farm boy on a ranch, and so that you know, I was like, this feels like, you know, me and my dad to a certain extent, you know. And so I enjoy the hell out of that show. And other than that, not really any original series, as most of them tend to have gone downhill after the first couple of seasons. Oddly enough, I've watched Fuller House on Netflix because I used to watch Full House when I was a little kid, so it's interesting to see that style of sitcom, and I think it's hilarious. Just the situation of it existing more than anything else. I mean, what you guys are talking about there with, you know, people screaming about violence in video games while ignoring it in cinema, the whole violence in video games thing is just people who completely do not understand the genre. And I know I'm preaching to the choir when I'm talking about that, is because you can go and hunt down any number of different scientific studies that qualitatively state there is no correlation between violence in video games and violence in real life. And there are multiple studies in video games that actually point more towards the opposite. But that's, you know, they used to say the same thing about role-playing games back in the early 80s. you know, people went insane because the dungeon master told them to, you know, and all sorts of other crazy shit. This basically, crazies will find an excuse to be crazy, and conspiracy theorists will find something to theorize about, and people wanting to find something to blame will find something to blame. That's just the fact of life throughout the years. No matter what time period you happen to be in, you'll find it. Before role-playing games, it was television. Before television, it was movies. You know.
I want to be careful before I ask this question. Then would you say it's fair to critique a game based on its representation on certain topics? A good example was there was once a reviewer who caught a lot of flack for her handling of the game Dragon's Crown. She criticized its portrayal of women and received a lot of there was a lot of controversy over that issue. So I just mean to ask is, would you say it's fair to sort of view a game that way?
You know, it depends. Dragon's Crown, I don't even know what the whole controversy is there. That looks like some form of violence and sexualized imagery. Okay, so my guess would be there is she's probably criticizing the game because of its objectification of women. I think that would probably be a pretty safe assumption to make, because that's usually the case. And, you know, the thing is, with video games, is it's a fantasy. It is a power fantasy on top of it. And so, naturally, you're going to see objectified and over-sexualized in representations and interpretations, whether they be male or female. And they can be done to the extreme ridiculous, or they can be done more tastefully. Regardless, it will happen. And the only thing is to make sure that even if they are being even if they're being sexualized visually, as long as the situation and everything involving the characters is pertinent to the overall design of the game. Because at the end of the day, it's a work of fiction. It's a creative piece, but to go after games because they over-sexualize someone tends to be injecting your own ideals and your own socialization into something where it might not fit. And we see that all the time with people like Anita Sarkeesian and all sorts of others, where they will just inject their own politics and their own social ideals into somewhere where it doesn't need to be. With video games, there are so many out there of so many different types. You can simply state, you know, it's fair for a person to critique a game whichever way they want. I mean, I wouldn't say that review doesn't have a right to exist, but I don't feel that it would be a fair critique of the game itself. To where I would disagree with the review, but that's basically all there would be to that. You know, I'm not a fan of injecting socialized ideals or politics into games to begin with, but then again, there are some video games that are political or social in nature and in design, and they can either be subtle or gross with their interpretations. Do I think Sony will bow to the demands that they remove the child abuse scene in Detroit BH? Where is Detroit BH? And I wasn't aware there was a child abuse scene. Detroit Become Human. Under fire for controversial domestic abuse. I didn't even know about that, to be honest. Let's watch this real quick here. Let's see. In the video, we see an android housekeeper, Kara, thrust into an uncomfortable domestic abuse situation. She's charged with taking care of a young girl who was attacked by her belt-wielding single father. The video tries to get the point across that you're able to change the course of events at multiple points in the scene. The video shows that one of the potential moments sees the young girl shoot her father as he chases Kara. Let's see. Do I think Sony will bow to the demands that they remove the child abuse scene? Believe it or not, I hope not. I hope they don't. It's entirely possible that they will, but I hope they don't. That sounds like a very poignant, emotional scenario. Scenes like that, you have to remember, and they had the same controversy blow up about the torture scene in Grand Theft Auto, to where that is designed to intentionally place you into an uncomfortable situation, to take you out of your comfort zone and force you to make a choice, to make a decision based on a variety of different factors. And it's one of those things where you're put into a position where within a video game, you have to make a moral decision to where there might not be a right answer or there might not be a wrong answer. And those sort of things, to me, means that that game is probably going to have a very interesting story, and it's going to be very engaging, and they're willing to pull you out of your comfort zone, to pull you out of that power fantasy and make you feel something for these characters. And that's not something you see a whole lot of in a lot of AAA games nowadays, because they're more interested in the microtransactions than in actually telling a good story. And so if Sony bows to those pressures, I feel like something unique and something interesting will be ripped out, because people don't want to deal with a situation where they're forced to make any form of moral choice or decision, which is a shame. And I think that's going to be, if they keep that in, I think it'll make the game just that much better. I mean, yeah, but things you have to remember, Torchman's Torchman says, not to mention in other media, we see the kinds of stories told all the time. We do, but it's different. Video games are different in the sheer aspect that it's interactive. You are making the choices. You are making the decisions. You're not watching someone else act it out for you. You are involved in either stopping this in some form or another, or allowing it to continue. And it's that player agency, that introduction of choice, that really brings about that feeling of discomfort for people, that a lot of people don't want to see that they want to shield themselves from that, because they don't want to be put into that situation of making that form of terrible choice. Even if it is fictionalized characters on a screen, it still has that storytelling impact of you feeling for the characters and for the situation at hand. Can David Cage handle it? History kind of says no. Yeah, that's fair. See, do you have a plan for when you reach your Patreon goal and you do this full time, or are you going to think about it the moment it happens? I mean, I already have a plan. Once I hit that goal, it will be a process to extricate myself from the company I work at, because I don't want to leave them high and dry. They're some of the best bosses I've ever worked for in my entire life, and the crew that I work with are absolutely amazing, fantastic people. And I don't want to leave them in a position where I'm just like, I'm out, bitches, see ya. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I set them up very much to win. And because of that, once I reach that goal, then I'll present that to the owners, let them know, hey, I'm now making as much money on my YouTube channel as I'm making here. I'm not telling you this to try and force you to compete or raise my wages or anything like that. I'm telling you this because I'm going to be leaving. But I will probably give them a month to 2 months to where I can train up my replacement, which is I already know exactly who it will be, And so I would take the time to be able to train him up in everything that I know, be able to pass off all the tribal knowledge and everything like that, and to make sure that that they're not left short, and to where we can bring on someone to train up in his place, to where they're not left short-handed and they're not left high and dry. So even at that point, it would probably still take a month to 2 months, which, given the time frames involved, should put me in good stead to be able to build up savings, to be able to draw from if there are months where income falls short. It'll give me time to get everything lined up, because I still have to factor in taxes and everything like that, and there's a lot of research there to do. That right now I can just handle taxes at the year-end basis, but once it's my full-time job, I want to be able to handle taxes on a monthly basis. So there's a lot more to be able to handle there. So yeah, once I reach that goal, I will go full-time, but it'll probably take a month to 2 months for it to actually happen. Favorite non-alcoholic, not coffee drink? Non-alcoholic, non-coffee. I don't even know what that means. No, probably cream soda. I would have to say cream soda with a little bit of ice cream. And do I think Patreon will stick to their change or make changes based on the criticisms they've received? I think they'll probably stick to it. They might make some small tweaks, but I think they'll stick to it. IBC or Spreckers? I don't even know what those are.
Cream soda barons.
Cream soda brands. Yeah, I look up IBC. It comes up with IBC Bank. Beans, I don't even know what either one of those brands are. I would have to say neither, because I've never had them. They don't. They're not available in my area. Jones's, yes. I've had Jones's quite a bit. Jones's makes some awesome drinks.
If they're fellow dwarves, why did they fight us?
They never spoke a word. No warning, no demands, just violence.
Now I'm craving cream soda. Sorry.
I won't leave Ren like this. We must return.
Do I have a P.O. box for people to send stuff? I do not. Mostly because I don't want whack jobs like Alex Maurer to know what town I live in.
I'll see this through, Ren. I promise. Anything standing between us and the Titan will regret it.
Oh dear. What game are you most looking forward to in 2018? Or are you as jaded and discouraged as I am by this year's crap from EA, etc.? I mean, I'm pretty fucking jaded about it all. One game I am excited for is MechWarrior 5. Which unfortunately is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, which means there won't be much of a storied campaign. From what I gathered, they plan on releasing a story campaign MechWarrior 5 after Mercenaries, as opposed to MechWarrior 4, where they did the campaign game first and then they did Mercs afterwards. But MechWarrior 5, yeah, oh yes, oh yes. I'm excited to beat all hell for that, and the full release of BattleTech. That will have a story mode campaign. and I'm extremely excited for that. Soul Calibur 6? No. Not interested. The other day I asked about a PS4 game and you said you didn't even have the console. Are you planning to get one? And if not, what would prompt you to do so? I do not own a console, and to be honest, I don't see much reason to ever get one. Mainly because I'm not a fan of console exclusives as a general rule, because they're abhorrently anti-consumer. And I don't really want to support games that support platform exclusivity. But yeah, no, I haven't seen, other than BattleTech and MechWare, I haven't really seen anything that is set to be coming out in 2018 that is really even beginning to tickle my interest at all. Anthem, I'm not excited for Anthem. I mean, Anthem is just going to be another one of those open world loot box fucking games. I mean, you could already tell from the E3 information that we saw that it's going to be loot box focused. And it's going to be just more of the same garbage. Yeah, the Anthem E3 level. Yeah, here, look at this legendary item. Great. That's just what I want to see.
The air is different. Stale.
Can't see anything there. It's so dark. What are my thoughts on pre-orders? Ban already knows full well my thoughts on pre-orders. Pre-orders are the devil. All right, so we'll I don't know, I think we should be pretty close to wrapping it here, guys, unless anyone has any final questions. Have I played or would I ever play Guild Wars 2? I actually bought Guild Wars 2 back when it first came out. I haven't touched it and I don't even know how long, but probably not. If we lived in a perfect world and pre-orders were only for limited physical collectibles, would you be okay with them? No. No, I would not. What do you think about the popularity of the Switch, if you think anything at all? Nintendo is the devil. Fuck Nintendo. Nintendo can kiss my ass. I don't care about the Switch. I don't care about any of Nintendo's crap. They can shove it, for all I care. It's like the Switch is basically an underpowered iPad with a GPU stuffed into it to be able to play video games on at their lowest possible settings. Yeah, you'll never find me supporting Nintendo. Nintendo refuses to support content creators, so I refuse to support them. Just like Campo Santo and their new video game that I will not be buying, I will not be reviewing, I won't be giving it any form of positive PR whatsoever because of what they tried to do over PewDiePie's bullshit, which, while wrong, it was also wrong for them to do that. Basically, they took their blanket permission for content creators and they ripped it out from under someone's feet because they found it socially convenient to do so. And they can't be trusted because of that. So fuck them. Is Valhalla on my list at all? Not really. What video game companies do I hate and like? I neither hate nor like any of them. Reason being is because video game companies... Well, actually, no, that's not true. There are a couple of video game companies I do like. I can't remember their names offhand. Well, no, I like Harebrained Schemes. I do. And there are probably two or three others, but they're all indie companies. The thing you have to remember with game companies is they're neither evil nor good or anything like that. They don't deserve those labels. They have an interest to make money, to make a profit, and so that's what they will do. Just like Steam. You know, Steam is not a consumer-forward, consumer-friendly company like so many people tend to think they are. They are out to get your money, and they have gone to enormous lengths to get it through a variety of reasons. That doesn't necessarily make them evil. That just makes them always wanting to make a profit, which is the point of having a business to begin with. General thoughts on Devolver Digital. Amusing company. Whoever handles their Twitter account is on point. That's for damn sure. I got a review code for Absolver. I kind of harangued them a little bit on Twitter, and they're like, "Yes, shoot us an email here, and we'll get you a review code." So, and they did provide me with a review code. I never ended up reviewing the game because I was just so bad at it. I was just so bad that I was like, I can't properly critique this because I am shit at this game. So I was like, sorry, better to say nothing at all than to open my mouth and to prove everyone that I am crap at this game and I don't know what I'm talking about. I actually did know that Don Thacker did the E3 stream for Devolver. It's been my dream all my life to work for them, but they never will hire me. Yeah. Yeah, if only a certain Cuphead viewer followed that advice. The word synonymous is synonymous with, but not interchangeable with, the word interchangeable. Ah! Okay, one last round for final questions, and I think we'll wrap it up. We've been going for just shy of 2 hours now. And I've been doing absolutely nothing with my with my Dragon Age playthrough. Are KOTOR 1 and 2 on my streaming list? I would consider KOTOR 1 not 2. Well, maybe I would consider 2. Probably, I still have a problem with 2 being incomplete. It's just never finished. But yeah, I would probably consider playing those after these. See, the thing is, I kind of also have to keep an eye out for what styles are popular right now. Because while it's fun for the 20 or so viewers that I get on a stream, you know, people aren't going to come watch a game they're not interested in watching, regardless of who's streaming it. KOTOR 2 was never complete? You didn't know that? No, KOTOR 2 was pushed out the door, unfinished, broken, buggy mess. It was such a disappointment and a letdown, because I bought it when it first came out. But it's one of those things where, yeah, even now they released that one patch that put all of the cut content back into the game, but it's still very incomplete. Yeah, they cut so much content that the ending actually made no sense whatsoever. Yeah, major community mod that fixes a lot of the problems, but it's still missing a giant chunk of the game. Favorite game, you can only choose one. Favorite game. Favorite game. Baldur's Gate 2. I don't know. It's impossible for me to just choose one game as a favorite, as I've played so many games over especially over the past 10 years, let alone the past 20, that it's basically impossible for me to single out a specific game as a favorite. But you know, favorite game, it would most likely be a BioWare, an early BioWare title, early to mid BioWare. Thoughts on Planescape Torment? I haven't played the expanded edition release, but Planescape Torment, the original game, was awesome. It was amazing. MechWarrior 2 was pretty damn great too. A lot of people adored that game. Maybe I'll start streaming Planescape. That'll get me some more viewers. Planescape. Alright guys, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Well, yeah, our stream just went completely unstable there for a second. yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Yeah, Survivalent Death, sorry you only got on the last 30 minutes. We'll release the VOD for this. We'll probably just go straight to release, just so people have something to watch. And people can go, why does he have Baldur's Gate on the screen and he's not doing anything? Or not Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age. Wow, I've been streaming too much. I have. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to try and get a video out tonight, guys, and we'll do more of the same. No Winter's Edge or Battletech this week, because Arthur is on vacation. Excuse me. So we'll probably do regular streams in their place, but I want to try and... I don't want to stream as much as I have the past 2 weeks. So I'm going to have to take a very serious look at that, because I'm just not getting the numbers that I would want to be able to sustain that and to be able to justify the time taken away from actually doing videos. So we'll have to take a very hard look at that going forward. But in the meantime, yeah, just stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You guys are amazing. And even though Patreon is taking a major shit right now, we're still just slightly above halfway there to the goal. Once we get up to 2,000 per month, then that will be the cut point for my being able to go full-time. So here's fingers crossed that it'll happen in 2018. And yeah, thank you so much, each and every one of you, for being a part of that and helping bring us just that much closer to making it a reality. So that said, we'll go ahead and play it off.